Hi friends, day 28 of Rediscovering Jesus. Today it's all about spontaneous prayer. Early in the week, Matthew was teaching us what it means to pray and the importance of the prayer process. Now it's this notion of spontaneous prayer. And that beautiful phrase that he shares with us, that God delights in conversation with you. Imagine that the King of Creation really enjoys talking to you, more than your best friend enjoys talking to you. More than your husband or your wife or your children or your grandchildren or your parents or whoever you like hanging out with. God truly delights in conversing with you. And so Matthew reminds us how important it is to spend time in spontaneous prayer, and that we should spend focused time with God rather than I talk to God all day long. The I talk to God all day long thing doesn't generally work. It might be a quick sentence or two, and then we get caught up in the rest of our day. We want real focused time where it's God and me. And whether we flood heaven with our needs, prayers of thanksgiving, or sacred silence even, this focused time with Jesus is a focused time. Just as you and I hate when you're talking to somebody and then they pull out their cell phone, oh, just a second, and you're talking to them thinking, what am I, chopped liver? Well, I just got to take this call. Well, I just got to answer this text. They're taking themselves out of the moment of being with us. Or when we do that to others, we're taking ourselves away. Well, how much more should we respect God with this focused time in prayer? Spontaneous prayer goes beyond the casual conversation with God. Casual conversations are important, but they're short. They're not that focused. And again, this idea of talking to God all day long, it works, but it really doesn't if we're being honest with ourselves. Now, some people say, well, Father, I like to pray the rosary while I do a chore. Okay, well, that's focus time, but we're still focusing on vacuuming, or we're still focused on dusting or doing the dishes, etc. I love when I hear about people who listen to podcasts, or perhaps they're listening to prayer, but they realize that even though it's sacred time, they're still a bit distracted. So when we think about spontaneous prayer, it's an opportunity to speak to God from our heart, and it's one of the greatest joys. Spontaneous prayers were often spoken to Jesus in the scriptures, that the person that was experiencing what Jesus said or did would often be moved to a response. Lord, open my eyes so that I may see. My Lord and my God. These are examples of spontaneous prayer. Some of my struggles with God talk is that I've been teaching the people in my Bible study to lead spontaneous prayer. And when we started some 7 years ago, it was crickets. And I said to them, I'm not going to pray. And for many of them, God bless them, they find these canned prayers that they found online that are quite beautiful. But what I'm actually trying to teach us to do is how to pray spontaneously from our heart, to speak as we would to our best friend. How many of us tell people we love them by reading Hallmark cards to them, right? We generally don't. You might give them that card on Valentine's Day, but then you follow it up with what you really feel about the person. Well, why is it that we're so reluctant to speak to God from our heart sometimes? The canned prayers, the Lord's Prayer, the Hail Mary, the Glory Be, these are powerful prayers and important ones to say every day. But it's also important that we have that genuine, unique dialogue with God to which He deserves. And so our best days, as Matthew reminds us, are the days in which we are connecting with God throughout the day and spending specific time in prayer. So, how can you be more disciplined, friends, in creating this time of spontaneous prayer in your life? God bless you.